Let's be honest, nobody ever expects to get screamed at by a so-called cop in your own living room, especially not with the kind of raw, ugly hate that leaves you frozen, your blood pounding so loud you can barely hear. Why is there a black man in our neighborhood? Get out of this house immediately. That's what he yelled right into my face. No badge, no warrant, just rage. And for a second I thought maybe that kind of thing only happens in movies or the past. But there I was in 2024 with some wannabe police officer trying to throw me out of my own home. Did he really think he could break me with cheap racist threats? Yeah, that happened. But before I could answer, engines started roaring outside, sirens blaring, blue and red lights slicing through the windows. Suddenly the whole block was quiet enough to hear a pin drop. SWAT teams in full black armor moved in, and the so-called cop who'd been barking in my face just seconds ago turned ghost pale. You ever see a bully get the rug pulled out from under him? It's a beautiful thing. Let me back up a sec. It was an ordinary Tuesday night, or at least it started that way. My daughter Emma was upstairs humming while she did her math homework. I was in my office reviewing blueprints mined halfway between deadlines and dinner plans when somebody started pounding, not knocking, pounding on the front door. Heart skips instincts from my army days take over. I check the peephole and see three guys in police uniforms, but the vibe is wrong. Too sloppy, too aggressive. I open the door a crack, leave the chain on. "Can I help you, gentlemen?" The leader, a buzz-cut white guy reeking of cheap beer, leans in. "We're HOA security enforcement. Multiple complaints. You need to vacate immediately." No real cop ever smelled like this guy. My gut screamed fraud. So I held steady. "I need to see some ID and legal documents before you give me any orders." Now here's where it gets interesting. The lead guy turns red, fumbling his belt like he's never been challenged in his life. The other two mismatched gear, no radios, no real boots. One was wearing Nikes. Nikes on a cop. You know what I mean? That's when my internal alarm hit DEFCON 2. But what really set my skin crawling, the lead guy rattles off my routine, my coffee at 6 a.m., my nightly run around the lake. Details only a stalker would know. Not random, not a mistake. These people had been watching us. But who put them up to it? That's when Emma appeared at the top of the stairs, phone in hand, already recording. She's 12, but sharp as a tack. "Dad, should I call Mom?" she asks loud enough for the fake cops to hear. For just a second, I saw genuine fear flicker in the leader's eyes. He hadn't expected resistance or a witness. "I need to see legal documentation or you're trespassing," I said, calm, loud, military voice. The lead guy's hand drifted toward his belt as if to threaten. His backup tried to look tough, but I could see the nerves. They'd expected me to roll over. That's when it happened, the heavy rumble of real engines getting closer. Law enforcement for real this time. The fake cops' confidence crumbled. They started backing toward my rear door, but too late. Tactical boots pounded on the porch and the front door burst open. The feds poured in, movements sharp and professional. And the woman in charge, my ex-wife Linda. Full tactical gear green eyes that used to soften at bedtime, now all business. Derek stepped back. She barked, same tone she used back when I'd left dirty socks on the floor. The imposters were pressed against the wall in seconds, zip-tied, their cockiness gone. Out of their pockets came fake badges, a toy gun and a device I recognized as a listening bug. Emma bolted down the stairs, nearly crying with relief. "Mom, how did you know?" Linda's professional mask slipped, just for a second. "I've been monitoring unusual HOA activity around here, sweetheart. When your dad moved in, I made sure to keep an eye on things. Turns out she'd flagged a pattern of intimidation targeting minority families. I'd walked straight into an active investigation. Her agents found professional surveillance equipment, floor plans of my house, and records showing I'd been under watch for weeks. This was no random prank. It was organized, carefully planned, targeting families like mine. And we weren't the first." Linda brought over a thick file. Inside photos of local houses, including mine, annotated with terrifying detail. Routines, kids' school schedules, security systems. The Johnsons, 3 doors down, had left in a hurry just last week. Now I knew why. They didn't leave voluntarily, did they? I asked. Linda just shook her head. We checked their empty house that night. Key fit the lock rooms, abandoned toys, scattered family photos left behind. We were still processing the heartbreak when Mr. Martinez, my Latino neighbor, knocked quietly at the back door. I saw you come. The Johnsons, they were good people. They didn't deserve what happened. He'd overheard secret meetings at the HOA president's house, heard talk about protecting neighborhood character, but it wasn't about lawns or mailboxes. It was about skin color. Linda's fury nearly boiled over. This is racketeering, organized intimidation, federal crimes. Martinez nodded, told us about Pinnacle Properties always swooping in with cash offers after the families were broken, always fast, always quiet. The conspiracy was bigger than I dreamed. Linda's agents found a live camera hidden in the Johnsons' kids' vent, active, streaming a family's privacy torn to shreds. My hands shook with rage, but Patricia Lockridge, the HOA president, had made a fatal mistake by targeting me. She didn't count on my ex-wife being a federal agent. The next morning, an eviction notice appeared on my doorstep, followed by a $500, $1,000 lawsuit. Damages to HOA, property harassment of residents, all backed by forged photos and phony witness statements. Linda tore into the paperwork, uncovering connections the judge, city council, even the process server bought off by Pinnacle Properties. Patricia had her fingers in every pie. You'd think that would break a person, right? But Emma looked me in the eye. No fear, just fire. Mom, Dad, what Patricia's doing breaks federal law. I found the statutes. My 12-year-old had turned detective, and honestly, she was better at it than most adults. Patricia showed up herself before the court date, all icy smiles. If you drop your allegations and move out, we'll withdraw the suit, she purred like she was doing me a favor. But I knew her game. She'd used it to break the Johnsons, the Rodriguezes, the Washingtons. Just grind people down until they quit. Sorry, I told her. I like my house, and I think a jury will like your business practices even more. Court was a circus, Patricia playing the hero, her lawyer parading doctored photos, the judge overruling every objection. Emma had to testify. The plaintiff's attorney tried to gaslight her. You were scared that night, right? Sometimes memories play tricks. But Emma just fixed Patricia with a stare. How did those fake police know exactly what time my dad drinks his coffee? Patricia fumbled. I never said anything about coffee. But the courtroom was dead silent now, and the mask slipped. That's when the twist hit. James Washington, a lawyer for several victimized families, strode in and put a witness on the stand, Michael Thompson, ex-Pinnacle Properties. He blew the conspiracy wide open. Patricia's brother owned Pinnacle. They'd been running Operation Clean Slate to force minority families out, buy cheap, redevelop for millions. Patricia's legal threats. Fake cop surveillance, just tools in a criminal business plan. Patricia tried to play one last card, a missing child alert blasted through the courthouse. 4 children, including Emma's friend Sarah, had been snatched as leverage against testifying families. Patricia looked me dead in the eyes and hissed, sometimes parents have to make tough choices. But Emma was safe beside me. The kidnapped kids were her friends. Linda's FBI team, using Emma's map of old storm drains, raided the warehouse Patricia's thugs had used. The bad guys were ex-military, heavily armed, but predictable. Emma had helped Sarah memorize secret escape routes, and the kids were rescued. The FBI neutralized Patricia's bombs, and as the warehouse burned, so did her empire. The aftermath was federal indictments for Patricia, her brother the judge, corrupt officials. Every family got restitution. Every conspirator got a cell. Linda was promoted to lead a national task force on real estate fraud. And Emma, my brave, brilliant daughter, became the neighborhood's first youth committee member, helping rebuild the HOA so nobody could ever hold that much power again. You'd think the story would end in a courtroom, but for us it ended in a garden. Sarah's old flowers blooming at the Johnsons' house, new owners smiling, hope growing right where fear once lived. So let me ask you, what would you have done if your neighbors turned on you, if justice seemed rigged against you from top to bottom? Have you ever stood up to a system that told you to sit down, drop your thoughts below, because justice isn't a spectator sport? If our fight lit a spark in you, share your story, because sometimes the only thing standing between a bully and your home is the courage to speak up even when your voice shakes.